data lake is we have covered the basics, and then database concepts in data lake as well. As I said, it does not store the data in a tabular form. It stores the results in a file itself. So that gives the flexibility of multiple types: structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. It can be any
Mhm.
types, and it's like a database of files which are queried using a database interface. Now the question is, what is the difference between querying a file in a SQL pool in the Synapse workspace and querying a table in a data lake? So as I mentioned earlier, querying a SQL pool file uses the open row set. So that requires a multiple parameters, right? File format, the enclosure, or the header file, the fixed
Mhm.
length parameters, and so on. So it uses multiple parameters to be present to query a file as a table. But if you create a
Mhm.
table in a data lake, it is as simple as select star from that table.
Okay.
So do you recognize the difference?
So
Because when
if
you
we,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So that means you have to specify different parameters if you are just querying a file, a simple
Correct,
specific file.
correct, correct.
But when the
When you
data,
did
yeah,
when you did the right click and select top 100, your query was
yes,
at least 5 lines, five,
yes,
6 lines. Yeah. So
yes.
if you do the same, want to do the same operation in data lake, it is just one line. Select star from data lake table.
Okay.
So that is the easiness it will introduce.
Business
Uh,
and data
yeah.
is more structured, right?
Database templates. There are pre-built templates when you create a DB or a table. So when you
Okay.
choose this template, there will be pre-structured tables and data as well. I'll show you how to create that. And database designer, this is like a basic functionality of how you design a table. If you use a template agriculture, it's already a pre-built design for you. So for
Okay.
example, agriculture will have the land types data, or the pesticides, or the crops, or the crop cycle. So all these are specific to agriculture, they are built in. So the tables are designed to handle that data. If you talk about automotive, then you have the cars and the air types and their manufacturing methods, the wheel sizes, or the rubber material, or the metal material density, what car should have what density of metal to be used for making. All such information is pre-built. Similar, all the other sectors would also have the same information. And then how do you use a data lake once it is created? By default, you will be pointing to a master. Either you can where you see the built-in pool and then run in master, you can create
Mhm.
the drop down and then change the DB, or you can use the command use retail DB and then go select these values. These are all part of exercises. We'll do it tomorrow. The different types of authentication methods, we have seen SAS earlier. There is anonymous, which is a password free, publicly available. There is
Mhm.
managed identity and user identity. I would recommend you read through Azure directory, the Azure Active Directory, which is called as AD, and then MS Entra ID, which is similar to AD, but now AD is a system and Entra ID is just an identity given to a customer. If you are a paid customer of Microsoft, you would be giving a unique identity, MS Entra ID. And
Okay.
what these can or cannot do against a blob storage, ADLS Gen 1 and Gen 2. And I think that's it. Some execution. These are all access control list. There is a read, write, and execute. So you can create roles by having different combination of these three. And then when you create a user, you assign into certain roles. So
Mhm.
your access actually depends on what role you are into in that system. So this talks about how that role is configured. And in general, there are four important roles: the logs writer and reader, and the two revolves around the same thing with the read, write, and execution syntaxes. This RWX stands for read, write, and execute, which
Okay.
has all the permissions. R hyphen X. This is always in the same order. So read is the first, W is second, and X is the third. If you see
Okay.
R minus X, it means it has read and execute, but not the write access. If you see
Okay.
R minus minus, it's read and no write, no execute. If it is hyphen hyphen X, no read, no write, but execute.
Okay.
Yeah. So some commands to create the login, create an alias, and create the login. This is the universal order in SQL Server. You have to
Mhm.
create the login. In login, you give a password, and then when you create a password, you assign that password to a user, and then that user given a role. Alter your DB, that is the user. Alter role DB reader role, and add a member alias. That is fine. Alias is the username here, so you are adding a member. Add member is a keyword. I don't know why this is not in blue. And if you want to alter a role, use the alter command. So create, drop, alter is used across all the objects in DB. Either you create a table, drop a table, alter table, or create a login, alter login, or drop a login. So these three are like a golden definition language words.